Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, Preethi, Vilasini Mataji, you can take over.
Yeah, okay. Thank you all so much for joining us today, and we are continuing our Ramayana series, which is a very long series, but we are making decent progress. We are in Aranya Kanda. Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam Valmikir Munisamhasya Kavitavanacharinaha Shrinvan Ramakathanadam Kaunayate Paramgatim Veda Vedye Pare Pumsi Jate Dashratatmaje Veda Pracheta Sadasi Sakshat Ramayana Anjananandanam Veeram Janaki Shokanashanam Kabiramakshahantaram Vande Lanka Manojavam Marutatulyavegam Jitendriyam Bhuttimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanariyudamukyam Sriramadhutam Shirasa Namami Anjaneyam Madipatanalanam Kanchanadri Kamaniya Vigraham Parijata Tarumula Vasinam Bhavayami Bhavamananandanam Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Kritamastakанjaliம் Bhashpavari Paripurnalochanam Marutim Namata Rakshasantakam जयत्राशतसन्त्रासध्वान्त्वविद्वांसनोदयः प्रभावान् सीतया देव्या परमव्योमभास्करः ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरम् नमा ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनितनाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are in Aranya Kanda, which is the third canto of the Valmiki Ramayana. In the beginning of the Aranya Kanda, we saw how Lord Ramachandra entered the Dandakaranya forest. And as he entered the Dandakaranya forest, he saw the hermitages of all the great sages. And these sages, they were drinking the beauty of the Lord with their eyes. And the sages went to Lord Ramachandra and they surrendered unto him. They said, Nagarastho vanastho va tvamno Raja Janeshwara. Whether you are in the kingdom or you are in the forest, you alone is our king and you are our maintainer. So they go and they surrender unto him, explaining that there are many demons, so please protect us. And that is when we see the entry of a demon by the name Viradha, who actually took away who took away Sita Devi, who took away Sita Devi, and Lord Ramachandra and Lakshmana. They fought very heroically, and this Virada, he led down Sita Devi, and eventually his arms were chopped off. And towards the end, he is buried. Ramchandra tells Lakshman to dig a pit, and Viradha is buried. But before he dies, he does Vak Seva. With his words, he gives some directions to Lord Ramachandra. He asks Ramachandra to proceed in a particular direction where there is a sage by the name Sharabhanga. Now, this sage Sharabhanga was a very exalted personality, and he performed not only great austerities, but he also performed austerities dovetailing his activities in the service of the Lord. So when Ramachandra neared his ashram, he saw Indradev. Indradev had come in his chariot to pick up Sharabhanga so that he could drop off Sharabhanga in the upper planetary systems, owing to the austerities that Sharabhanga had performed. But Sharabhanga very politely refused. He said, no, I'm not interested in this offer. I have a better offer waiting. And he was waiting for the darshan of Lord Ram. So he explains this to Lord Ram and he offers the pious credits of all that he has obtained so far at the lotus feet of the Lord. And then by the yogic process, he attains perfection and he goes to the spiritual world where he is welcomed there by the Lord of Vaikuntha. Then Ramachandra moves on, and there are more sages, different varieties of sages who come and who surrender unto the Lord. The sages, they request Lord Rama that he should protect them. And Ram gives a promise to all the sages. He says that it is his main duty to protect the sages. And in fact, that is the primary reason why he came to the forest. The secondary, external reason is Kaikeyi sending him to forest. But then the real reason why he came to the forest was to give protection to the sages. Then he moves on to Sutikshna ashram, where Sutikshna is also another great sage who has performed many austerities, and Indra had the same offer to him. But Sutikshna had the same response, and he was waiting for Lord Ramchandra's arrival. And he offered all his credits unto Lord Ramchandra's feet. So Ramchandra stays in Sutikshna ashram for a while, and then he decides that he wants to move further. Especially, I think at this point in time itself, he says that he wants to go around to different places, stay for a few months in different sages' ashramas, go find out what else is there in the forest area, and then he comes and he desires to come back and meet Sutikshna. So while he is leaving like that, Sita, she gives an advice to Ram, telling, why are you holding this bow and arrow when you're in the forest? It's not befitting you because you are here and you're surrounded by sages. Why do you want to actually hold these weapons? And she tells a short story about a sage who had a weapon in his hand. And then Ramachandra explained that, don't say that, Sita Devi, apiyaham jeevitam jahayam tvam va site sa lakshmanam na tu pratignyam samshrutya brahmanebhyosh viseshata. So the Lord says, I may give up anybody. I might give up my life. I might give up you. I might give up Lakshman. But I will never give up on my devotees. If my devotees come and say, I am yours, if they have surrendered unto me, I will assure them full protection. The sages came and surrendered unto me, and I will never ever forget that. And the question raised to us, was Rita really meaning to tell him to keep away the weapons? The answer was no, Sita was just testing how firm he is in his determination. And then they moved further like a Uma, and then we saw the quick story of sage Mandakarni. He was engaged in Karma Yoga, in Sakama Karma Yoga, and how he was bewildered and he ended up enjoying in the waters with the Apsara versus the sages like Sutikshna and Sharabhanga who offered their fruits at the lotus feet of the Lord. So after going through different sages' ashrams, Ramachandra, he comes back to the ashram of sage Sutikshna who was waiting for him. And he expresses his desire that he really wanted to see sage Agastya. And Sutikshna directs him how to go to Agastya's ashram. So he tells him first you go to the ashram of Sudarshana, who is the brother of Agastya. You take his association and then move southward, where you will go finally reach the ashram of Agastya. So while going towards the ashram of Sudarshana and Agastya, at that time, Ramachandra, he relates the greatness and the story of Agastya Maharishi. So he says different stories. One story that he mentions is about Vata Pilvala, how Agastya actually ended these two demoniac forces who were actually tormenting all the Brahmanas. And then he also tells about how Agastya means one who stopped the mountains. The Vindhya mountain was actually rising up and in competition with the Himalayas. And Agastya tricked the Vindhya to stop there. And eventually, Agastya crossed over to the south and he remained there and he never moved back to the north. So he stayed there. That way, the mountain also stayed in its position without growing. So after they enter Agastya's ashram, Agastya warmly welcomes them, and then Agastya offers great hospitality and he glorifies Sita in various ways. He says she's such a wonderful wife and she's following you so nicely in all respects. Then Agastya directs them to Panchavati. He says, you go and stay in Panchavati, there you will be very happy. Okay, so they move on to Panchavati, and while moving on to Panchavati, they come across the great vulture, Garuda. Sorry, the great vulture, Jatayu. And Jatayu introduces himself saying that, oh, Vatsarama, oh sweet boy Ramachandra, I'm your father's friend. So like that, Jatayu, he introduces himself to Ramachandra, Lakshmana and Sita, and he tells he will join them on their way to Panchavati, and he would stay guard for Sita if at all Ram and Lakshman were away in the forest. And while introducing himself, he talks about the genealogy of all the species that came into existence from Kashyapa Prajapati and how he's actually the son of um, Aruna, who is indeed the son of Vinata. Aruna and Garuda are the sons of Vinata, and from Aruna comes Sampati and Jatayu. So he tells about his entire birth history. And after that, Ramachandra, he tells Lakshman to build a cottage in a suitable place according to his liking. But then Lakshman starts crying. He's like, why are you punishing me like this? What do you mean, my liking? I have no independent liking. I'm always your servant. I will. And then Ramachandra says, okay, build a nice cottage according to my liking. I mean, Ramachandra's liking. And within a short period of time, Lakshman, he builds a beautiful multi-roomed cottage, and Ramachandra is very delighted and he says, my father Dasharath is indeed alive in you. I have my father. Maybe you don't have your father, but I see my father in you. You're taking such good care of me. भावज्ञेन कृतज्ञेन धर्मज्ञेन च लक्ष्मण त्वया पुत्रेण धर्मात्मा न संवृत्त पिता मम. He says, say, I don't miss my dad. He's right with me here in your form. Bhavagnena, Kritagnena, Dharmagnena. You've known the bhav that I have with a lot of skillful attitude. You've built this cottage. And dharmagnena, you know what the dharma of every jiva is to always please the Supreme Lord. In that mood, you have built this beautiful cottage for us. So then he describes the Hemanta Ritu that comes through. And he also remembers Bharat, who's away, and he's thinking about the austerities that Bharat would do in this cold weather. And like that, they pass time there, and time moves on and on and on. And it is the final year of their stay. Okay, so back to Chaitra Mas. So we are going to track this Chaitra Mas period. So we are back to Chaitra Mas, and that is when our heroine enters the scene. Who's our heroine? Shurpanaka. So, Satu Shurpanaka nama Dashagrivasya Rakshasah Bhagini Ramam Ashadya Dhadasha Tridhasha Upamam. So she came, she's the Bhagini of Ravana. So that Rakshasi, she came and she saw the most beautiful, the most pleasant face of Lord Ramachandra. And Valmiki begins Hasya Rasa in this particular section where he makes a comparison, a sarcastic comparison of the beauty of Lord Ramachandra and Shurpanaka, just to tell the readers that it was an imperfect match. It was such a bad match. Okay, so he says, Sumukham Dhurmukhi Ramam Vrittamadhyam Mahodari Visalaksham Virupakshi Sukesham Tamra Murdhaja. So like that, he goes on describing the contrasting features of Lord Ramachandra and Shurpanaka, and that Shurpanaka who was lovesick, she made a proposal. So she said, oh, you seem to be like an ascetic person, but then you're moving around with your wife and you're holding weapons. Who are you? And Ramachandra, he introduces himself very honestly. And then Shurpanaka also introduces herself. And she proposes and she says, I want to be your wife. And let's roam around in the forests of Dandakaranya very, very happily. But then Ramachandra, he says, oh, okay, I think, did we finish this? Yeah. Okay, so we have to continue from here. Okay, we have to continue from here. So now Shurpanaka, where we stopped, she just made a proposal and we stopped there. How did she make the proposal? She said, I can see, I'm seeing you for the very first time. She says, I am the sister of Ravana and Vibhishan and Kumbhakarna. Ravana and Kumbhakarna are known as great demons, but my other brother Vibhishan, he's a shame. He's a disrespect to the race of the demons. He's known as Dharmatma. And I have other brothers as well, Karadushanadi brothers, who are living close by. So she gives her full introduction. And then she says, actually, they are all my brothers and they are supposed to be very great, but I can excel all of them in my bravery. And on seeing you for the very first time, as soon as I saw you, it was love at first sight. So I'm in love with you, and you alone are the best of men, and I alone I am the best of women. So you are the perfect choice for me. Okay. And then he looks at Sita Devi and he sees that Ramachandra is accompanied by Sita. So she looks at Sita and she says, "Who is this unshapely woman? She is not worthy to be your wife. Actually, I should be your wife. You should treat me as your wife. I'll eat her up. I'll eat this disfigured, dishonest woman who has a hollow stomach. She doesn't even have a proper paunch like me. She's very, very thin. I will just eat her up. She looks so ugly. And let's enjoy after I eat her up. We both will roam around in the forests of Dandakaranya. We'll enjoy on the mountain tops and we'll have lots of fun." Okay, so she invites Ramachandra like this. So when Ramachandra heard all this, he chuckles, he laughs, he finds it very funny. So he just laughs and he begins to reply to her, whose eyes are very intoxicated. She's very intoxicated with what? With love. So she was intoxicated with love, and Lord Ramchandra was just laughing, and he began to reply. And in a very sweet, respectful, soft voice, he said, "Oh, honorable woman, I'm already married. I have a wife, and it will be a big pain for you to have a co wife. Having co wives is no fun." Right? It'll be a distress for you if you marry me. You'll have to live all your life with a co-wife. But then he says, "Look at this boy who's nearby. He's my Anuja. Anuja, my younger brother. Anujahattu yesha me bhrata Shilavan Priyadarshana Shriman Akritadharaha cha Lakshmano Nama Viryavan." So he says, "Look at my Anuja, my younger brother. His name is Lakshmana. He's Shilavan and Priyadarshana. He's got very good conduct and he's extremely handsome. Shriman, yes, he's a very auspicious, fortunate person. And the best part is he's Akritadharaha. He's without his wife. He's without a wife. Actually, Akritadharaha means without a wife. And he's Lakshmana Nama Viryavan. He's a very valorous person by the name Lakshmana. So why don't you marry him? Here you'll have co-wife problem. But then you can marry my brother." Now there is a lot of commentary on this Akritadharaha. So Rama never speaks lies, right? Was Lakshman unmarried? Lakshman was married. He had his wife, Urmila. But then why is Rama calling Lakshman as Akritadara? The commentators say because he was without a wife at that point in time. His wife was not with him at that point in time. That is what Ramachandra is meaning to say. He's not meaning to say that he's not married at all. Okay. So the idea Ram is giving is he's without his wife, he's without a companion for a very long time. It's been almost 13 years, 14 years. So why don't you actually marry him and he'll be very happy with you and you can be very happy with him. He says, if you woo him, if you nicely flatter him and take him as your husband, you will enjoy very nicely without a co-wife. And the demoness, the Shurpanaka, she looked at Lakshman and she got very lusty. She was thinking, oh, not a bad choice. He looks very, very handsome. So discarding Rama, she immediately began to look at Lakshman with a lustful eyes and she started speaking with Lakshman. So she invited Lakshman and she said, okay, I will marry you and we can roam around Dandakaranya as a couple. And Lakshman smiled and said, why do you want to become the servant of a servant? As it is, I am serving as a servant. I am the servant of my brother Ram. Now, if you come, you will become the servant of the servant. You will have to serve me, and both of us have to serve Ram and Sita. So, you are so beautiful. And why do you want to become a servant like me? I am just an order carrier of my brother. So it's okay. You don't have to become my wife. It's not a good idea. Rather, you become the wife of my brother. See, he's the superior, and he doesn't have to serve anyone. And if you become his wife, then you will become very, very happy, and he'll only prefer you. He will like only you. He'll be very happy with you and he won't even care for Sita Devi. So that's how Lakshmana, they play ping pong ball. they throw Shurpanaka on, he throws, Lakshman throws towards Ram, Ram is throwing Shurpanaka towards Sita, towards Ramachandra. So like the Shurpanaka, when she heard this dialogue between Lakshman and Ramachandra, she tells Ram, see, you both are playing like this all because of this ugly, stomachless woman. She's so thin, so ugly because of this lady. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to eat her up. I will eat her up right in front of your very eyes. And then once she's gone, Ram, without a co-wife problem, we both can roam around in the forests of Dandakaranya. So saying that, with the very fiery eyes, she stared at Sita and she went dashing towards Sita to eat her up. And when she went like that, immediately Ramachandra told Lakshman, oh, immediately deface the paunchy demoness. She is very, very freakish. She is just trying to hurt my Sita, so immediately deface her. And the minute Ramachandra gave that instruction, Lakshman, he drew a sword and he chopped off the ears and the nose of Shurpanaka. So you all know this happened in the region of Nashik Panchavati. Yeah, that's why we call that area Nasik, nose. So her nose and her eyes were chopped off. And when her nose and eyes were chopped off, it was very painful, of course. So Shurpanaka started blaring in a high pitch, and she very fast she ran towards her half brothers who were Karadoshan. She goes to the forest and she falls on the ground like a thunderbolt from the sky, and her entire face was wetted with blood. And she went and told her brother Kara all about Lord Ramachandra's arrival to the forest, and even about how they have Ramachandra has a wife, and Lakshman, the brother, is also along with him, and how Lakshman actually cut off her nose and ears. So, and seeing this Shurpanaka who's fallen like this, fully soaked with blood, Kara was like, first, you rise up, tell me clearly what really happened, and I will take away the life of these terrible people who have treated you so badly. So, tell me exactly, give me more details. Who are they? So, like that, when Shurpanaka was asked, even in this very, very distressed condition, imagine. Okay, let's have some fun. Okay, if supposing, this is a favorite question, everybody does this in this section of the Ramayana. So if somebody comes and chops off your ears and nose, okay, and I ask you to describe them, how will you describe them? Any thoughts? You're very, very hurt by somebody. Somebody chops off your ears and nose, and you go and you meet somebody. You meet me, okay? I'm a good friend of yours. So you're going to complain. How will you complain?
With
I
full
will blame
animosity.
you and make it all your fault. I mean, the person's fault. You would downplay your own part in that the whole episode.
Exactly, yes. With a lot of anger, you're going to downplay what the mistake that you did. Actually, at this, actually, even Kara asks her, what did you do? He asks her in a while. But anyway, yes. And then what else?
Yeah, with full animosity, we will
Ah,
behave.
with full animosity, right? So we'll be so angry, so irritated, and we'll be so wild. But then the Shurpanaka, she was so intoxicated with love and lust in her eyes that even in such a terrible condition, while blood was pouring out, she was glorifying the beauty of Ram with lust. So she was telling Ram and Lakshman actually. She says, तरुणौ रूपसम्पन्नौ सुकुमारौ महाबलौ पुण्डरीकविशालाक्षौ चीरकृष्णजीनम्बरौ फलमूल अशीणौ दान्तौ तापसौ ब्रह्मचारिणौ पुत्रौ दशरथस्य आस्थां भ्रातरौ रामलक्ष्मणौ. So, of course, it's fully in dual case because two of them are there. Both of them, Tarunau. Tarunau means they are very young, okay, very young. very youthful. Rupa Sampannam. She said, Tarunau, Rupa Sampannam. They are so beautiful, extremely good looking. Sukumaram, very delicate limbs. Mahabalav, just because their limbs are delicate doesn't mean that they are feeble people. They are Mahabalav. They have so much bal. They have so much strength. Pundarika Visalakshav. They have such beautiful eyes like that of a lotus. Chira Krishna Ajina Ambarav. But though they are looking so exotically beautiful, still they are dressed in very simple clothing, like the deer skin or bark of trees. Phalamula Ashinam, they're just living, eating fruits. Dhantau Tapasau Brahmacharinam. And they look like tapasvis, like brahmacharis. That is how they are roaming around. Putrau and these people, they are the sons of Dasharatha, and they are two brothers, Rama and Lakshmana. That is their name. Now, when she was reciting this, when she was saying the sentence, still her eyes were intoxicated with love. Though she was wailing out in pain, there was so much lust in her heart while she was describing the beauty of Lord Ramachandra. So generally, we'll just go and we'll blurt out angry words, right? We'll just go say, oh, that, nasty person he cut off. We're not going to describe the beauty of the person. Oh, that beautiful person with tender arms. He had such a lovely sword. Very lovingly, he took it out and he chopped off my nose and ears. We're not going to say that. But you can imagine how much Shurpanaka was affected by the beauty and the presence of Ram and Lakshman. And the same verse, Taruna Rupa Sampannau, is seen in three different ways: through the eyes of Shurpanaka, through the eyes of Kara, and through the eyes of the men of Kara. Kara had 14,000 soldiers. So through his eyes also, we are going to see the same verse. The same verse was perceived in three different ways. First of all, Shurpanaka was telling it with, filled with lust, okay, when she was describing Rama and Lakshman. But then you have Kara who was listening to it. So when Kara was listening to it, he was thinking, Taruna, oh, they are young boys, huh? They are just, very simple youth. Rupa Sampanna, so very handsome looking boys as if they know how to fight. Sukumarao, they have delicate arms. Mahabalav, he thought it is Mahabalav. They are childish. They don't know anything. They are just useless. Such kind of people. Pundarika Visalakshav, Chira Krishna Ajina Ambarao. So their eyes are very restless, very childish, restless eyes. And they're, after all, just wearing bark of trees. So they're not even properly dressed. They are infidels. They don't have any strength. Palamula Shina, they are not eating raw flesh like us. They are just eating some fruits and vegetables that is found, roots that is available there. And they are, after all, brahmacharis. They are not like us who are big demons who are trampling over the earth. And they seem to be ordinary humans. They are the sons of a king by the name Dasharatha. So this is how Kara, he perceived this verse. First is Shurpanaka. Shurpanaka is saying this out of lust. Kara is perceiving it in a way that these boys are very tender, soft people. I can easily just destroy them in a minute. Okay. Now the people who are associating with Kara, the 14,000 soldiers, how did they perceive this verse? They were thinking of Tarunau Rupa Sampana. Oh, they are very, very young and they are very well trained. Though they are extremely good looking, just with their body is very supple and agile, Sukumarao, and they are very strong. They have Pundarika Visalaksha. They are itching for a war. With their eyes, they are looking out who's going to come and fight with us, and they're waiting to have a war. Chira Krishna, Ajina Ambarao. They are wearing this bark of trees. That means they have tightened the bark of the trees on their waist and they are ready for a fight. Palamuna Shinau, Dan Tau Tapasau, Brahmachari now. Okay, they are brahmacharis, so they don't have any other attachments. They're just going to come and they're going to fight with us with all the valor. And they are very great princes. They are the sons of a great king by the name Dasharath. So they must be trained in military warfare. So just one verse, three people are seeing it in three different ways. The people who are associating with Kara, the soldiers, they are thinking this is great danger. It's going to be a big fight. Kara is thinking, these are useless boys, infidel boys. I can just finish them off in a minute, while Shurpanaka's lust hasn't gone down yet. Okay, so that's how she goes and she speaks this verse. And she says that not only are these two present, I've also seen a very beautiful, delicate lady between the two of them. She's also living there, and she's so beautiful, and she is very, very. Good looking. She's adorned with such beautiful ornaments, and all because of that woman, I've had this situation. Because Kara asks her, what did you do? What did you do to them? And that's when she says that actually it is because of that lady that I've been put to the situation. And I want to drink the blood of that Sita. And I also want to drink the blood of Rama and Lakshman when they are killed in a war by you. Because unnecessarily they disfigured me. So because of that, you go and take revenge. You kill them and bring me their blood. So when Shurpanaka spoke like this, Kara, his heart was filled with vengeance that his sister was treated like this, and he summons only 14 demons. Okay, initially. So though he had 14,000 demons as his army members, still he thought, oh, this is a simple, delicate human being. What is there to fight with him? 14 of my men are more than enough. So thinking like that, he sent 14 of his people so that they could go and fight with Ram. And Kara told his soldiers, go fight and come back only after winning over them. Kill them and bring their blood, and my sister will drink their blood. Okay. So now there is a small note about these 14,000 soldiers. This is by Maheshwara Tirtha. He notes, this is the Madhva commentary, he notes that who are these 14,000 demons? Their identity is mentioned. It appears that Lord Shiva once cursed Kara and pardoned him, saying that he'll be released from the curse by Rama of Dasharatha. Okay, so the same mention is there in Mahabharat in the discussion between Bhishma and Yudhishthir. It so happened that sage Yajnavalkya had three sons. They are Chandrakanta, Mahameda, and Vijaya. These three were Brahmanas, and these three Brahmanas were cursed eventually to become Kara, Dhushana, and Trishiras by the curse of Shiva. The first one, Chandrakanta, is Kara, and the disciples of the three Brahmana scholars are actually the 14,000 demons. He had 14,000 disciples, and they all became the Brahma Rakshasas, okay, who are now with Karadoshan and Trishira. So, listening to, understanding what Shurpanaka had told Kara, Kara decided that he would send all of them. First, he ensured that all the 14,000 would go. First, he sends the major 14 disciples, his original disciples. He sends 14 of them. Then he sends the 14,000. Then finally, the three brothers, they also get killed. And Kara is the last one to get killed. So a lot of today's session will be about the fight. Okay. So first, the 14 of them, they go. Kara's men, they march along with Shurpanaka, because Shurpanaka has to show where the ashram of Ram and Lakshman is. So she leads the way, and the 14 people, they come to this hermitage of Ram and Lakshman. And Ramachandra, the minute he sees these demons who are arriving, he becomes alert. And then he calls Lakshman and he tells Lakshman, you safeguard Sita, take her to a safe place and safeguard her. Nothing should happen to her. I will take care of these 14 people. It's just 14 people. So he takes a bow and his arrows, and he stops these people, these 14 of them, and he says, the sages have surrendered unto me, and they've asked for protection, and my duty is to destroy all of you. So if you really want to hold on to your lives, you better run away. Otherwise, if you're ready for a fight, I will certainly kill all of you. So like that, Ramachandra, he alerts them. And then these people, they start throwing different kinds of weapons. They start throwing lances towards Ramachandra. And Ramachandra, he takes on his bow, arrow, and he shreds all of these different 14 lances that were thrown by the 14 demons. And then he begins to target these demons by shooting arrows that are as hard as thunderbolts towards them. And these, by the speed of these arrows, he's really quick. Ramchandra is really quick, and he starts shooting these arrows. And these arrows, they go and they pierce the chest of all the 14 demons. And there is a lot of blood that comes out, and they fall down dead. So it was just a few minutes, and 14 of them were out, all dead. So now Shurpanaka, seeing that the 14 of them had fallen down, she runs back to Kara and she falls at his feet again, like before, and she starts crying. And she starts crying, and repeatedly she says, "Oh, all the 14 of them are dead. You sent 14 people, just within a few minutes, all of them are gone." And then Kara says, "Hey, I'm here to take care of you. Don't cry like this. Why are you crying like as if you have nobody? I am there for you. Okay, so I will ensure that this Rama and this Lakshman who are sitting in this Dandakaranya forest are definitely killed. Okay, now itself, I will make sure that I send more people to attack them." And Shurpanaka says, "If you do not kill that enemy, Rama, now itself, I will give up my life, because giving up my life is better than living a shameful life like this without my ears and nose." And then Kara tells his sister, "You better control your tears, give up all this grief that you're having, and I will ensure that they are killed." So Kara then he calls his brother Dushana, and he tells about the information about Ram and Lakshman and what happened to Shurpanaka. And then they come up with a plan. So plan one failed, sending 14 demons failed. So now they go on to plan two. So according to plan two, they decide to send 14,000. First, they sent 14, but now they send 14,000. All of them, all the disciples of these three sages, they are being sent. 14,000 demons, they were wielding maces, darts, bolts, spears. They were having all sorts of dreadful weapons, and they were sent to face Lord Rama. And Surpanaka was very happy. She was telling Kara, "You're useless, you didn't do anything, you let your sister down." But now she started praising Kara because he sent 14,000 of them. So they proceeded, and actually Kara was also following them at a distance because he wanted to see what will happen. So he was also following in a distance, but first he sent these 14,000 of them. And they go and they made, while they were going, while all these 14,000 of them were going, lot of inauspicious omens were seen. Okay, when Kara's army were going. Now we see this theme of Nimitta and Shakuna throughout Ramayana. I've told this even in the Balakanda, that this will keep repeating over and over throughout the Ramayana. So omens are read by the movement of birds, by the movement of animals, and what happens on one's body. And we have seen this in Srimad Bhagavatam as well in the very first canto, when Yudhishthir Maharaj faces many omens. Right when Krishna leaves and Kali Yuga begins, and then Arjun comes back with the bad news that Krishna is no more. So in that chapter also we read all these different omens, right? So like this, when Kara's army was going forward towards the hermitage of Lord Ramachandra, at that time they could see a lot of vultures were coming, and they were perching on the chariot flags. And then he could see a disk around the sun, a fiery disk around the sun, like as if the sun is getting eclipsed. And then jackals were shouting and screeching, and he could see little fine birds like mynas were twittering very helplessly. And it appeared that there was an earthquake and the mountains were shaking, and Kara's left shoulder was twitching continuously. It was quivering. So for a woman, when the left side of her body is quivering or twitching, it is considered auspicious. But for a man, if the left side is twitching, it is considered inauspicious. For a man, it should be the right side. So Kara was facing all these different omens, and even the people, the entire army, they could see that as the army was proceeding, so many bad omens in the environment. And Kara, though he understood that these were bad omens, Kara said, I am not going to recede. I am reluctant to return without killing that ram. Whatever omen it may be, I am ready to go and face, and I will only return after killing them. And he says, see, I can even defeat Indra, who's the rider of Airavat. And what to talk about mere humans? They're just ordinary human beings. Why should I be scared? Okay, thinking like that, he asks his army to proceed, and he follows. And in the sky, the great sages, Gandharvas, demigods, Charanas, Siddhas, all of them, they gather because they all want to see this grand fight of Lord Ramachandra and the 14,000 demons. And they wanted to see how Lord Ramachandra is going to fulfill the promise that he gave to the sages. And desiring to see the victory of Lord Ram, the Brahmanas and the sages, they offered their blessings. They showered blessings on Ram. They said, let Raghava triumph over this mighty demons who are coming in the lineage of Pulatsya, just like how Vishnu once conquered all the demons in the war. So they were giving their blessings while Ramachandra was getting ready. So Khara's army was rushing towards the towards the ashram of Lord Ram, and Lord Ram had already seen what was happening in Khara's army, because when Khara's army was coming, he could see that these bad omens were seen as if it is going to engulf that entire army. And for himself, Ramachandra started witnessing good omens. The right hand started throbbing and twitching, and he could understand that he is going to win, and his hand itself was itching for a fight, Lord Ram's hand. So he could see a lot of good omens on his side, and he could see bad omens on the opposite side. So immediately he calls Lakshman and he says, okay, next trouble is coming. Plan 1, they executed and we won. Now plan 2, 14,000 of them are coming. So you please take Vaidehi inside, ensure that she's given proper shelter, go to the mountain cave and hide there. Hide there means what? Just go take shelter at the mountain cave. So he tells Lakshman to take Sita there and go and stand there. And he tells Lakshman, I know you are a great warrior and you can eliminate all of them, but this is my job. I have taken this vow to protect the sages. So I alone want to face these 14,000 demons. So I know you're very great. You're a great warrior, but you please go. This time it's my turn. So then Lakshman, he listens to his brother. He picks up the bow and arrows that he keeps, and he takes Sita along, and they go to a cave on top of a mountain. Then Lakshmana, he enters the cave along with Sita, and Ram, he feels, now it is all clear. Thank goodness. This was a good idea to keep them away. Now I single-handedly want to prove so many things. I want to save all the sages. I want to keep up my promise. Not only that, I also want to prove to Vaidehi that I am nothing less. Okay, we'll find out what that meant, okay, in a few minutes. Okay, so now he was like a brilliant fire, and he came out and he stretched his bow to examine if the bowstring was tight enough. And he took a few arrows and he shot and he ensured that everything was working. And he goes with his bow and arrow, and there comes this entire army with their bows, lances, arrows, and big chariots. And it was looking like a cluster of cloud that was appearing, Lord Ramachandra. And on seeing this Kara descending and his people descending, a great war started. Ramachandra, he started shooting thousands of arrows as the arrows from the opposite side was coming. And they were also, these demons, they were raining different kinds of weapons on Ram. And some of these demons were on chariots, some were on horsebacks, some of them were riding on elephants. So they had all the equipment. They had different varieties of weapons, and they also had all these animals on which they were riding. But in spite of they shooting so many different kinds of weapons, Ram was able to withstand all these arrows Just like how Mount Meru can withstand as many thunderbolts that falls on it. Like even if 100 thunderbolts of Lord Indra falls on Mount Meru, because of the sheer strength and presence of Mount Meru, it can tolerate anything. Similarly, Lord Ramachandra could withstand this attack of these 14,000 demons. But then, very, very artistically, Ramachandra, he curved his bow, that is, he stretched his bow, and he pulled the bowstring up till his ear, and he started jetting out multiple arrows. It was like as if one ram had become 14,000 rams in so much agility, such quick shooting of arrows. So he shot so many arrows like this. So many of these arrows were adorned with gold, some were adorned with eagle-like feathers. So it was these beautiful arrows that Lord Ramachandra had. He started discharging them continuously towards all these 14,000 demons. And whoever was there, actually many of them were killed. Many of them were killed. And whoever was remaining in this 14,000, they desperately ran towards Kara, who was following them for shelter. So now, comforting all of them, Kara and Dushan. So Dushan, he was also present close by. So some of the demons, they went rushing to Dushan while others went rushing to Kara. So now the people who had come rushing towards Dushana, so Dushana assured them that he will take care, and he proceeded. He took the lead. Dushan now takes the lead, and he rushes towards Ram with big shala trees and palm trees and boulders. He just uproots huge trees because they're demons. They have big bodies. So this Dushan, he started uprooting trees and big rocks and boulders, and he was trying to pound it. He was trying to throw it at Ramachandra. But then Ramachandra, he shot so many arrows that not only were these demons killed, but also these huge boulders and trees were all shattered into pieces. So like that, even Dushan's people were all terribly wounded by Lord Ramachandra, and all of them were defeated. And in fact, the many of the chariots were broken. The charioteer of Dushana was also terribly wounded, and Dushan, he picks up a big mace, that is a mace, that is like a gada, and he starts throwing it towards Ram. But then Ram shot arrows that chopped off Dushana's arms, and then it shredded the mace into many pieces, and that mace fell down. And finally, he shot an arrow at Dushan's chest, and Dushan was also killed, and he fell down to the ground. Okay. So now Dushan was also killed. All the other soldiers were killed, and some of them were remaining. Okay, so now with the remaining soldiers, Kara, he starts running towards Lord Ramachandra in a rage, and Ramachandra again started hitting arrows at all of these 100 and 1,000 demons who were there with Kara. And all the soldiers of Kara were also killed. And finally, Kara alone, he was only left, and he also rushed towards Ramachandra. And so actually, Kara and Trishiras were remaining. Two people were remaining. Okay, so only two people were remaining. And Trishira, he tells Kara at this point in time, he tells Kara that let me actually first go. Okay, you stay back. Actually, Kara is the last person that is killed. So now almost all the soldiers are gone, and only Kara and Trishiras were remaining. So Trishira, he goes and tells Kara, you go last, and I will go in the front. So here it is mentioned, a beautiful verse, Chaturdasha Sahasrani Rakshasam Bhima Karmanam Hatani Ekena Ramena Manushena Padatina. That means Lord Ramachandra was only one, and he was a human being. A human being means he's in the role of a human being. He eliminated single-handedly, Lord Ramachandra, he eliminated 14,000 demons of great exploits in single-handedly. And it was appearing that one Ramachandra was 14,000 Ramachandra because he was moving so dexterously while he was shooting down all these different demons. Okay, so now this Trishiras, he also goes in front, and Trishiras was attacking Lord Ramachandra, and Lord Ramachandra again fights with Trishiras, and very soon he actually kills Trishiras in a quick combat. Okay, they both have a one-on-one combat, and Trishiras is also destroyed. Now Kara is the one who's remaining, and he was very fearful, seeing that Trishiras was already killed. So he goes in front of Ram, and he's the last one, and he's the most difficult to be killed. Actually, Kara was the most difficult. So Ramachandra, he tells Kara, when he sees Kara, that now you are left alone. Are you ready for the battle? At this point in time, Ramachandra, he takes up the bow of Vishnu that was given by sage Agastya. He takes up that bow because this is the bow that he uses to actually kill Kara. Remember when he visited Agastya ashram, Agastya actually handed over the Vishnu Dhanush back to Ramachandra. Initially, Ramachandra had taken the Vishnu Dhanush from Parashuram, and he took an aim, and then the bow vanished and it went to the hands of Varunadev. So Varunadev had taken charge of the Vishnu Dhanush, and Ramachandra proceeded. He was happily married. He lived a nice married life. Then he was asked to go to the forest, and he was also roaming around in the forest very happily. But now came the time when that Vishnu Dhanush had to be used to kill Kara. So Agastya gifted Ramachandra with this Vishnu Dhanush, re-gifted. And now Ramachandra was thinking it's high time this greatest of all demons, Kara, is killed. So he picks up the Vishnu Dhanush that was given by Agastya. Okay. And Kara came in front of Ram, and he started shooting different arrows at Lord Ram. He shot 4 arrows at Lord Ram. And again, Ramachandra, he retorted by shooting 6 arrows. And he hit Kara's head with 1 arrow. With his with 1 arrow, he removed his hands, and he also shot arrows towards his chest. Then he shoots 13 arrows. After shooting these 6 arrows, he begins to shoot 13 arrows at Kara. And in these 13 arrows, he is aiming different arrows at different parts of Kara's body. With a few arrows, he smashed the chariot of Kara. With some arrows, he shot the horses. With some, he hit the head of the charioteer of Kara. And then he hit the axles, and he started shooting towards the body of Kara. So like that, he was trying to shoot down Kara in all possible ways. And then Kara got off the chariot, and he started fighting one-on-one on the ground with Lord Ramachandra. And Ramachandra, at this point, he warns Kara. He says, don't continue this fight, because definitely you will be killed. You think you're very, very great, but definitely if you try to attack me like this, you are sure to die. But then when Ramachandra said all this, Kara was all the more infuriated, and he said, don't think that you're very great just because you killed a few demons, 14,000 demons. They are all useless demons. How strong do you think they are? They are not very strong. But I am the strongest of all of them. Now you fight with me, and let's see how much you can perform in front of me. So when Kara challenged Ramachandra like this, Ram chastises Kara. He tells, you're very impudent. I'm trying to give you a chance, but it appears that you are very arrogant, and you have tortured all the sages enough, and it's high time that you are dead. Okay, so then he picks up a particular arrow that Agastya had given him, and he fixes it to the Vishnu Dhanush, and he shoots that arrow that pierces Kara's chest, and he falls down dead. So like this, Kara is also eliminated in 1.5 muhurtas, which is 72 minutes. A muhurta is 48 minutes, and 1.5 muhurta is 72 minutes. In 72 minutes, okay, only, Lord Ramachandra, in 1.5 muhurtas only, he killed all the 14,000 demons, including their chieftains, who are Kara, Dhushana, and Trishiras. So like this, Lord Ramachandra, he eliminated all the 14,000 demons. Then the sages were waiting. They were waiting for this day, right? They had waited so long. So the sages headed by Agastya, they all came there and they congratulated Lord Ram. They said, this task that is accomplished by you, it is such a great task and we are so indebted to you. We had been waiting for this day. And they give him an appropriate thanksgiving, all the sages. And at that time, after the war was over, that brave Lakshmana, who was sitting quietly in that mountain cave, controlling his emotions because he was forbidden to fight, he comes out along with Sita and they come running towards Lord Rama. And especially, this is a very beautiful juncture because Sita Devi, she goes running towards Lord Ram and she embraces Lord Ram in front of everybody. Okay, it's a famous verse, one of the key verses of the Aranya Kand, a very highly celebrated verse, very heavily commented. So the verse is, Tam drishtva shatruhantaram maharshinam sukha avaham bhabhuva hrishta vaidehi bhartaram parishasvaje. So tam drishtva, seeing him, him, okay, whom. So the commentators say it is this Rama whom Sita once said striyam purusha vigraham. Remember when in Ayodhya Kand, when Ramachandra said that he won't take Sita along, Sita tried to argue in various ways, saying that she would also accompany him to the forest. And then when Ram didn't listen to her, she took the final weapon of chastising her husband. She told, you are Striyam Purusha Vigram. You've just taken the form of a man, but actually you're a woman. So she chastises him. Are you scared that if I come along with you, you cannot give me protection? So when she says that, Ramachandra gets scared and he's like, okay, madam, please come. So that Sita who called him Striyam Purusha Vigraham, Sita is seeing him, the same Ram, whom she accused to be a Striyam Purusha Vigraham. Because Ramachandra was standing there, okay, am I good enough now? Are you convinced that I'm good enough? I can give protection. I can handle all these demons in a battle. So do you still think I'm Striyam Purusha Vigraham? So like that Ramachandra, Sita sees. That Ramachandra also has another meaning. Ramachandra, whose limbs are so delicate, so delicate. That Ramachandra also means, though his limbs are so delicate, still with so much valor, he fought single-handedly with 14,000 demons. Another meaning of Tham, that Ram is the Ram who promised the sages of Dandakaranya that he would be killing all the demons. So that Ram whom Sita tested, that Ram kept up his promise and he killed all the 14,000 demons. So just for Tham, there are so many meanings. Drishtva, Sita saw him. How did she see him? She saw him with so much love and care and affection, like as if she's applying medicine on him. Because when Radharani, we say when Radharani's sidelong glance is so merciful. So that Sita's eyes, her glance, it was so merciful with so much love. Shatruhantaram, the one who had conquered all the Shatrus. For whom did he conquer all the Shatrus? He conquered the Shatrus for the sake of the Maharshinam, for all the sages whom he had promised. Sita saw that Rama, who had killed all these Shatrus, all these demons, to keep up his promise. They all came and did Sharanagati, these Maharshis, to satisfy them. Sita tested him, but now he proved that he will take care of his devotee. Maharshinam Sukha Abhayam. That means he gave happiness to all these wonderful sages. Babhuva Hrishta Vaidehi. Vaidehi now, she was very, very happy because she becomes more happy when her children are protected. Okay, so she becomes extremely happy. Babhuva Hrishta Vaidehi. Vaidehi. She's Vaidehi means she's Videha's daughter, the daughter of the king of Videha. And what did the king of Videha do as a gift when Ramachandra showed his valor? He gave his own daughter, right? That was the gift that was bestowed on Ram when Ram showed his valor by lifting the Shiva Dhanush. As a gift, Sita was given. So now the same Vaidehi, following the footsteps of her father, she decided to give herself again to Ram. So, Bhartaram, her Bharta, her husband who won her by lifting the Shiva Dhanush, Parishaswaje, she went and embraced him, giving herself to him. Not only that, Parishaswaje also means she's Sita Devi. Who's Sita Devi? She's Vaidehi. Was she just the daughter of Videha? No, she emerged from the earth. She is the daughter of Bhumi Devi. And on Bhumi, you find all the medicines, you find all the herbs. So her very body is the abode of all the herbs. With her body, she embraces Lord Ramachandra, like as if applying medicine on the wounds of Lord Ramachandra's transcendental body that was apparently showing that it was being hurt by the arrows of Karadushanadi Rakshasas. So it's a very, very nice verse. It is also, on a side note, it is also a verse that is chanted by the Sri Vaishnavas when they worship Shalagram Shilas. Out of affection, they chant this verse and they seek, actually, they it's a nice emotion where they pray for the protection of the Lord's transcendental body. Okay, by the mercy of Mother Lakshmi, the Lord is protected. Something like that. It's a nice emotion that they express through this verse. So, in the Kanda Purana, there is a Phalashruti for this entire section. It is said, on hearing Rama's victory, one will be freed from the shackles of sins, also from the chains of punishment, also from the entanglement of debt. If a bride hears this, she will soon beget a son who will enhance the dynasty, and by the grace of Lord Raghava, she'll become enriched and renowned. So this is Phalashruti from the Skanda Purana for all of you who had heard this section. Now what happened? Wait, I have to see the time. 7:35. Okay, we have time. Great. Okay. So now what happened? All these Karadushanadi demons were killed. 14,000 demons were killed. But then it was not 14,000. It was 14,000 minus 1. So this is a habit Lord Ramachandra had. Anytime he had a fight, he would always leave one person free so that the story can continue. Just like how he left Maricha free when he killed Subahu and Tataka. He let him go. So like that, Lord Ramachandra had this habit of leaving one person go. And the person who ran away was Akampana. According to other retellings of the Ramayana, not the Valmiki Ramayana, but Kamba Ramayana, and many, it could be, I'm not sure of Tulsi Ramayana, so somebody can tell this later after the class is done, whether such a retelling is there or not. There are many Ramayans, and different Ramayans have different flavors that are added. So one of the additions is that this Akampana, he goes in the garb of a woman. He wears a sari and he runs away. That's how they describe. But Valmiki per se doesn't say anything about it. He doesn't talk about the sari part and all. But it's interesting that his name is Akampana. Kampan means to tremble, right? His name is Akampana. That means he never trembles. But he was so scared. At this point in time, he was trembling when he ran away. He runs away. Where does he run? He runs to Lanka to report the matter to Ravana. Because all of them here, all of Ravana's soldiers and his attendants and his extended family, everybody was killed. There was nobody here. So Akampana, he goes running, shivering, he goes to Lanka. And he goes and he reports the matter. He sees Ravana and he says, oh Ravana, oh king, everybody in Janastan is now destroyed. Even Janastan is not even existing. It's not under the control of the demons anymore. Our kingdom is gone and all our people are dead. And Ravana is so shocked. He gets up and he says, What are you telling? Who dares kill all the 14,000 Rakshasas in Janasthan? Even the demigods are afraid of me. Everybody knows that they are my people. The demigods tremble when they think about me. Did they have the guts to do this? Who did this? At that time, Akampana tells that it was not any demigod, it was just two youthful people, two young people. Their shoulders were strong, they have mighty arms, and their body is built like a lion. They are the sons of Dasharath. Those people, they came into the forest and they killed all the 14,000 demons. He's bluish black in complexion. He describes Ramchandra's beauty. See, all these people, they are so enamored by the beauty of the Lord. That's why when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he comes, Krishnavarnam, Tusha Krishnam, Sangopangastra Parshadam, Yagner Sankirtana Prare, Yajanti hi Sumedasa. What is the weapon? Jiva Goswami says, weapon is his beauty. He doesn't carry any weapons. So here Ramachandra has weapons, but still that beauty kind of attacks everybody's heart. Shurpanaka was glorifying his beauty. And now you see Akampana, he says, oh, he's bluish black in complexion. He's highly renowned. He's magnificent. He's so beautiful. And he is the one who actually slew Karadhushan in Trishiras in Janasthan. So like this, he describes about Lord Ramachandra, and he says Ramachandra single-handedly, he killed all of them. And Ravana was very shocked. He said, what? A mere human being? Did Indra get involved in this? Do they have some coalition party, Indra and Rama? Do you know of any such rumors that Indra came and gave some task to Rama and he helped Rama? And Akampana says, no, this has nothing to do with Indra. This has nothing to do with any demigods. He is an ordinary human being. Actually, at this point, Ravana was concerned when Akampana said that he's a mere human being, because Ravana already, when he had asked for boons, he didn't care to ask a boon that he wanted protection from human beings and monkeys. Right? He only wanted boons where he would not be defeated by demigods and other Rakshasas and Nagas and all of them. So Ravana was a little concerned, and he was very keenly listening to Akampana. And Akampana said that he single-handedly killed 14,000 demons with the swift arrows. Very, very quick, very agile, and very quickly he killed all of them. So Ravana got up from the throne and he said, okay, I will go right now to Janasthan and I will kill that Rama along with that Lakshman. And he says that I will. It's my immediate task that I'm going to do it right now, and I'm going to leave Lanka now. That time Akampana, he stops Ravana and he says, Ravana, don't do that. I don't think you're ready yet to go and face Rama. That Ram, he can collapse even the world, the planets on top. The stars and the planets can collapse and fall down. The earth can tremble and completely break down. That is the power that he has. It is very difficult to conquer that Ram in a war. See, you sent 14,000 demons and they were simultaneously attacking Ram, and still he was not defeated. So it is not easy to kill that Ram in war. Okay. But I will tell you one plan of how he can be killed. Listen to this very attentively. So he gives a suggestion. He says, Bharya tasya uttama loke Sita nama sumatyama Shyama sama vibhakta angi Stri santnam Ratna Bhushita. So he says there is his wife. She's an excellent lady. Tasya Uttama Loke Sita Nama Sumadhyama. She's got beautiful limbs. She's a jewel-like lady, first class. She's very slender waisted. She's so beautiful. And she is the wife of that Rama. Listen to this plan. If you forcibly abduct his wife, when she is alone, when she is not in the presence of her husband, at that time Ramachandra will automatically die. Why? because he cannot live without that beautiful woman who is his wife. When he's separated from his wife, he will become very weakened and you can easily attack him and you can kill him. Or just in separation itself, he will die. So this is the formula that you should employ. Go kidnap her. In fact, she is so beautiful that there is no other woman in this universe who's as beautiful as her. So he's very attached to his wife. Go take her away, and automatically he will be killed. And he says, this Acharya has mentioned that in fact, he says the one who is her husband will actually be the ruler of this entire world. He's fit to rule this. No, this comes later. Sorry, please forgive me. This comes later when Shurpanakha speaks. So for now, he just says, go bring her and you will be very, very happy. You can, because easily you can kill Ram, because Ram will be very sad in separation from his wife. So then Ravana liked that idea. He said, very good idea. I will follow your advice. And to execute that idea, he meets Maricha. Okay. So he goes to Maricha. He goes to a place where Maricha is staying. And he says, Maricha, I'm here. I have a task for you. And Maricha, who's the son of Tataka, he receives Ravana. He's surprised that Ravana has come to see him. He receives him and he gives him all the nice food and all the worship, and he washes his feet and he takes care of his guest. And then Marich asks Ravan, hey, I'm very anxious. What happened? Is everything okay with you? Is your kingdom okay? Why did you come running in search of me? Do you need any help? Is everything all right? And at that time, Ramachandra, he tells this idea that he heard. That, I mean, not Ramachandra, Ravana, he talks about this idea that he heard, that I want to capture the wife of Rama. There is a man by the name Rama, and he's roaming around in the forest of Janasthan in this area. So I have this bright idea that I want to take away his wife, and I'm kidnapping his wife. He will become weak and automatically he will die. I've heard this is the best formula to actually kill him. So when Marich heard these words of Ravana, he says something very interesting. He says, who is giving you such crazy advice? Is he really your well-wisher, or does he mean to actually kill you? What kind of blunder is this? What kind of advice is this? Who is this crazy person who's hitting hard on your head when you're fast asleep? Huh? He's giving you a ruinous advice. He's leading you to your self-ruination. He tells very bad advice, very bad idea of kidnapping Sita. Don't ever try this. The person who's advising you is definitely not your well-wisher. Actually, if you try to do such things, you're unnecessarily waking up a sleeping lion. So he tells you better give up all such crazy ideas. These ministers of yours, they have no clue of who Ram is. So you better keep quiet and go back to Lanka. You enjoy with your wives. Let Ram enjoy with his wife in the forest. You just part ways. Don't bother each other. Now that 14,000 demons are killed, Ram is in Janasthan. It's okay. Let him just be with his wife and brother, and let him carry on with his life. You carry on with your life. You please go back to Lanka and be with your wives. Okay. So Maricha advises him like this, and actually Ravana listens to Maricha and he goes back to Lanka. Okay, he says it's okay. He's some ordinary human being. Let him live his life and go. And he goes back. He goes back to Lanka after listening to Maricha. Now, after this, only after this comes Shurpanakha. So first, Akampana comes and gives the review of what happened, how the 14,000 demons were killed. And Akampana also tells him you can kidnap Sita, and in that separation, Ram will die. So Ravana goes to seek help of Marich, and Marich says, very bad idea, please go back. And he goes back. He listens and he goes back. But now comes our lady Shurpanakha, who's going to twist things around. So she enters. Now Shurpanakha, she goes all the way to Lanka, and when she enters, she sees Ravana. There's a full chapter describing the gorgeous appearance of Ravana. Okay, so we are going to go through some appearance and features of Ravana. So she saw Ravana. Ravana, where was he sitting? He was actually sitting on his aircraft Pushpaka Vimana. He was seated on Pushpaka Vimana. Pushpaka Vimana was halted in one place, like, in the aircraft area, it was halted. And he was sitting there. And there also, he was surrounded by his people. How was he looking? Yeah, he was looking like as if he was like the sun, okay, very, very radiant. And his body had been bruised by many weapons of the demigods because he had fought many wars with the demigods. One could see the mark of Indra's thunderbolt, and then one could see on his chest there were tusks of Airavata's piercing, and one could see how Ravana was sitting in all glory with his 20 arms, 10 faces, broad chest, and he had a white parasol on top of his head, and then there were people fanning him with white whisks. He looked very, very courageous, and he had practiced so much austerities for 10,000 years, and he had attained boons, and he looked very, very strong. Such a kind of Ravana with the 10 heads, Shurpanaka was seeing him. Okay, so now this disfigured Shurpanaka, who was disfigured by Lakshman for her own, for her own personal agenda, she goes and she falls at the feet of Ravana, and she begins speaking to him in a very accusing manner. Okay, she starts accusing Ravana. So she falls down on the ground and she starts accusing Ravana of many things. So she actually kindles his ego. She goes on speaking about him. She says, "What kind of king are you? If a king is unnecessarily indulging in sense enjoyment and dirty pleasures, and he's just serving himself, forgetting about the people in his kingdom, such a king will not even be honored by the cremation fire. A king who does not deal with the concerns of the kingdom is not fit to be a proper king, and he will soon be ruined. If a king is not accessible by his spies or his subjects, then he's not fit to be a proper king. You don't even listen to the reports of your spies. You are such a kind of king. You don't know how to keep your kingdom under control. You have shuffled the administration of the ministers. And even after knowing what has happened to Kara and Dushana, you are so carefree and you are enjoying. I think your spies are useless. They are not worth their profession, and neither are you listening to them. Don't you know all the subjects in Janasthan are ruined? The entire kingdom of Janasthan is gone. There is one single soul by the name Ram. He's an ordinary human. He has eliminated 14,000 dreadful demons, and even Karadushan and Trisharas, they are all dead. And this Ram, he thinks he's a big champion. He has given security to the sages and he's safeguarding Dandakaranya, and now Janasthan is out of picture. Everything is under this Ram's control, and you don't seem to care. On your part, you're so selfish, you're so hot-headed. You just go around talking about your own glories, but you're simply indulging in lust, and you have these useless ministers who are not even helping you. You have unfaithful spies who are totally useless, and everybody is working towards the ruination of your kingdom. You're simply humiliating everybody, and you're just going around speaking about your own glories. You are completely useless." So like this, Shurpanaka, she goes and tells you're a worthless king, and she goes on talking about all the negative traits of Ravana. So when Ravana saw Shurpanaka come and fallen like that, and she was sitting and accusing him so badly, he gets infuriated and he asks, "Who is that Rama that you're talking about? How brave is he? And what kind of caliber does he have? And how did he destroy the Dandakaranya? What happened? How did he destroy my Janastan? And how is it? What kind of weapons does he have? By what weapons did he kill Karadushan and Trishiras? Oh, beautiful lady, oh, Shurpanaka with fascinating limbs. Tell me, who is the one who disfigured you? So he asks that question. We'll stop there and we will see Shurpanaka's answer and how she allures Ravana to actually go and kidnap Sita in the next session. And we'll see whether Ravan listens to the second time advice of Marich or he doesn't. And what could be the reasons why this time he's not easily convinced. Okay. So I'll stop here. We stopped like 7-8 minutes early, but that's okay. Next time we'll do more time. Okay. Okay, questions, comments, realizations.
Wonderful class. Very, very wonderful. As usual, very absorbing. And the way you narrate the pastimes, you really make us envision those pastimes. And while you were telling about how Shupnaka, when she was basically complaining to Khara, but how she was praising Lord Ram. I was thinking there are so many verses in Bhagavatam also where the demon is accusing, but Mother Saraswati put in a positive way as a
Correct.
positive connotation to the Supreme Lord.
Very true. Yes.
Nice, Mother. Thank you. Thank you so much. And especially the war, the way you describe it was very nice. Thank you so much. Okay, Rachna. Yes, Rachna Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare
She's
Krishna.
texting also.
Thank you very much. Yes, so I just have an observation that, like in Mahabharat also, at the end of the Mahabharat, all the Kauravas were not killed. Actually, one Kaurava, even after Duryodhan was killed, was left.
Mm.
I read that in the Mahabharat, that one of the Kauravas was left, one son of Gandhari and Dhritarashtra. He was spared, I read that. So just, yeah, when you're talking about, the 14,000 minus one, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Okay. So if there are no other questions or comments, we can end here and we can continue next class.
Okay. Okay, Mataji. But class was superb.
Thank you, Mataji. We'll end here.
Yes,
One.
ma'am.
Manchakalatarubhyascha कृपासिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai. Preethi Vilasini Mataji ki jai.
Jai.
Thank
Thank you very much.
you for
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
joining. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare